Okay, I'd like to reconvene the regular meeting of the Bellflower City Council and acting on behalf of the successor agency to dissolve the Bellflower Redevelopment Agency and Bellflower Financing Authority, Monday, July 9th at 7 p.m. So now that we're reconvened, there was no reportable action in closed session. I let the record show that without objection that all council members here are present except for Ron Staublager, and his attendance was excused by first by Sonny Santinez and second by Juan. Can I have everybody rise for the invocation led by myself and the Pledge of Allegiance led by Joel Hockman? Oh, gracious God, thank you for all you do. Please bless our actions here tonight and assist us in building a strong and caring community. Bless our residents, and may you lend us your wisdom and to find solutions for the issues that come before us. Let's make Bellflower a better place for all of the community. We thank you for the opportunity to help others and the opportunity to try to improve our way of life. We ask for your protection and blessings on our military men and women, and may them always return safely to their families. In your name, amen.
Amen.
Please face the flag and join me in saying, I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, City Council announcements. As a reminder to the city's next general municipal election, which will be held Tuesday, November 6, 2018, for City Council Districts 1, 3, and 5. This election will be consolidated with the general election conducted by the Los Angeles County Registers of Voters Office. Our goal is to make this transition as smooth as possible. Therefore, if you have any questions about this election, voter registration, or which council district you reside in, please contact the city clerk's office at 562-804-1424, extension 2271. Or always, you can do it via email at cclerk@bellflower.org. Mayor Pro Tem Sonny Santinez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Grab your paint brushes and head down to Calaveras Mexican Restaurant on Wednesday evenings to get creative with paint night. Irwin Munoz, manager of Calaveras Mexican Restaurant, located at 16530 Bellflower Boulevard, has teamed up with artist Stacy Ferry for a night filled with food and painting fun. Tickets are limited and can be purchased at a discount of $28 per person, 2-ticket minimum purchase. Each ticket includes all painting materials and instructions. Food and beverages are not included. Purchase tickets in advance at www.paintnight.com/passes. The theme for the first event is Dog of the Day, which will be held on Wednesday, July 18th at 6:30 p.m. For more information about Calaveras Restaurant, please visit www.calaveras.la. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Juan Garza.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Bellflower's Economic Development Department is hosting a free small business workshop regarding employer branding, which is geared to learn and implement an effective strategy to attract and retain good employees. The workshop will be on Tuesday, July 10th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Location is here at Bellflower City Hall. Address is 16600 Civic Center Drive. And walk-ins are welcome and are encouraged to bring a business card. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Garza. Councilmember Dan Coops.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The City of Bellflower Parks and Recreation Department invites everyone to come out and enjoy the exciting lineup of summer entertainment that includes food, flicks, and a variety of music, and much more in the heart of downtown Bellflower. The Summer Street Fest events feature live music, food vendors, craft and business vendors, and their free activities and games with the Bellflower Recreation in Motion, BRIM as we call the program. The concerts and parking are free to the public, and music will begin at 6:30 p.m. and run until 9:30 p.m. There will be charges for food and vendor pricing, and that will vary. Concert goers are encouraged to bring their own lawn chairs, but not bring alcohol. So I guess it connotates if you have a lawn chair, you got to drink, but you can drink beverages that are non-alcoholic. And we have no element of painting in this one, Mr. Senator.
Yeah,
All right.
exactly.
The upcoming concert is this Thursday, July 12th. The band is Smith with a country music performance, and we hope you come out and enjoy the event. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Coops. Okay, Mr. Stewart, or not ready for Mrs. Stewart. We're ready for, public comments.
Public comments.
Mr. Stewart.
This is the time set aside for the public to address the city council on matters not listed on the agenda. Anyone wishing to address the city council should come to the podium, be recognized by the mayor, and state your name for the record. If you wish to address the city council on an agenda item, you may do so by approaching the podium as we review that particular item. You'll be given a reasonable amount of time to address the city council.
Good evening.
Good evening. This is my first time here.
Welcome.
Thank you. We just had the 4th of July, and with all the illegal fireworks that were in the air, I'm looking at maybe could have been houses on fire, people getting hurt. Right now, there's a citation fee of $1,000. Is there any way that in Lakewood, they have a $2,000 with the flashing signs that say it's a $2,000? Is there any way that we can up ours to $3,000 and also put those flashing signs on major boulevards?
I've already made
Yeah.
something to raise it to 5,000.
We're gonna
We were
review all
we were
options.
first on the block to do the 1,000, then other cities, there's 2 and 3, and I'd like to also have staff entertain an idea, because I'd actually heard that Pasadena was doing a little something different with their property owners, and they don't have to really see them light it, and that's our problem. So
We'll bring it
I
up in the
think
next couple months.
we'll be,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is we'll be in discussions trying to see if we can enforce it better. It seems those kind of people are getting better to hide it, because our tickets that we give out drop every year. And we need to come up with a better solution to enforce it.
Undercover?
Well, we rented
Maybe.
5 undercover cars, and we had deputies in 5 undercover cars throughout the city, which is nowhere near enough to what we needed. But we're struggling, it doesn't just stop at our borders, it's other cities, but we need to do something. I agree with you, it's bad. You can't go to sleep till 3 in the morning.
Okay, on handicap parking, right now, what is the fine?
300,
Some, 300?
over 300.
Yeah,
375?
350, 375? Yeah.
Any way we can raise that?
Pardon me?
Yeah, we raise it periodically with the state code when it goes up. No, we go right to the level state code allows,
Yeah.
right? Don't we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Any way that you can put signs on that says minimum 250? Can you put on there what the actual Bellflower is? Because you got people that's parking going into ATM, Circle K.
Oh, yeah, it seems like everybody that,
So if you put down, they
Has
think
it,
it's just
yeah.
250, if you put down something that's, okay, it's 450, maybe that'll discourage them. They'll think twice.
Maybe at least on new signs.
I think what you're
Yeah.
talking about, ma'am, is there is some of those signs say penalty 250, doesn't it?
Minimum.
Now that you
Minimum.
brought that minimum, maybe we ought to say maximum.
Yeah, it says what the Bellflower is.
Yeah, yeah,
The
so maybe it ought to be
450,
maximum, yeah.
425, what the Bellflower is. Maybe that'll discourage some of those people.
Joel, do you have an inventory of those signs? Do you have any idea how many are up or anything?
Don't want to guess, but we do have an inventory of signs in the city.
We'll take a look at that and go back and see if we can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, because that would just be our signs, and then there's signs on private properties that maybe don't have the minimum. regulation for that. That might
Can
not
you
be.
ask them, can we put that sign up there?
Unless it's federally mandated, you can't ask them, it's private property. The reason there is handicapping on private property because it's federally mandated. Yeah. But you have a very good point.
2 good points.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you for coming out.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Connie Stallings, and I have a question regarding the Stater Brothers store.
Uh-huh.
I was very disappointed when it closed, and the Ralph's Market was closed earlier. There has not been a replacement store for either location, and I find it very inconvenient to have to go to another city in order to shop. I do not like the Stater Brothers in Paramount, and it's further for me to travel to the one on Pioneer. I really prefer the store that was there, and I was told the reason it was closed was because the lease increased. And I'm thinking, well, at least they had a very good clientele, and now there is no one occupying that location. So there's no money to be made. So I don't see the purpose of
It
closing
doesn't
the
make
store.
sense to any one of us. The story we got from the property management and Stater Brothers, they raised the rent from $80,000 to $120,000 a month. And to me, I had staff look into it because that's code for, they got it because they weren't budgeting on their lease. Stater Brothers wanted to downsize their square footage so they could stay.
Right.
It was a deal breaker. The property management company and the owner decided this is what we want. And so I had staff research, was there something else going there? Did they have another tenant in the background? No, they just wanted that kind of money, and now look what they got. But they knew what they were getting into, but it's private property. We don't have any control over that. But I agree with you, we don't have a market in our town, and Ralph's left for other reasons, but we are working on trying to draw other markets to this town.
Okay.
And they're, without saying much more, we may be doing something with the Ralph's site. That may come to attrition sooner than later than the other location.
Okay. Thank you.
But I feel your pain.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. I'm Josh Murray, representing Clifton and Brackensick Library, 9945 Flower Street. We have an upcoming STEM-related program for children called Brick Building Workshop, Saturday, July 14th from 2 to 3 p.m. Do you love building things? Then this is the program for you. We will provide you with 10,000 plastic bricks. You can build anything from a race car to a house, whatever you can imagine. Compete in races to see who can build vehicles that are the coolest, travel the furthest, and go the fastest. And this is recommended for children ages 3 and up, and I hope the local kids attend this valuable STEM-related program. Thank you.
Thank you. Good seeing you again. Anybody else wishing to say a few words?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council, City staff. I'd like to thank everybody who braved the heat Saturday and came out to our chili cook-off. The Bellflower Noon Lions and the Bellflower Family Lions. Unfortunately, it was a day beyond anybody's expectations of what the heat could be. Sonny braved it, and we thank you.
You're welcome.
We ended up having to, the fat lady sang, and we all had to leave. The vendors were pulling out because it was so extremely hot, and we just couldn't take it. So I just want to thank everybody that did brave that heat and did come out and did what they could, I just want to thank everybody for their
Is it true? I heard a
participation.
rumor that the cooks were just setting the pots of the chili on the sidewalk and they were
That's
saving
exactly
propane.
what was happening. It was that bad.
And I heard that.
Yeah. You believe it? It was so hot,
Yeah.
nobody was even drinking beer.
Now I
But-
find that hard to believe.
I know. But yeah, it was a very nice event, and it would have been really, really nice, but unfortunately, Mother Nature decided otherwise. So
Yeah.
those that did brave it, thank you.
And the air conditioning won, didn't it? Anybody else wishing to speak on anything? Not seeing any, we're going to move on. Mr. Stewart, item 11A, please.
This is a consideration of possible action to conduct a public hearing to consider adopting Resolution 18-39, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute purchase and sale agreement file number 812 in a form approved by the city attorney with Bank of the West for the purchase of the real property located at 16824 Bellflower Boulevard. And the recommendation is to open public hearing, take documentary and testimonial evidence, and after considering the evidence, adopt Resolution 18-39, or alternatively discuss and take other action on the item.
Okay. Jim, take it away.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. Good evening. As Mr. Stewart just mentioned, the item before you tonight for consideration is the purchase of property at 16824 Bellflower Boulevard, the former Bank of the West building. The subject site is located in the northeast corner of Bellflower Boulevard and Maple Street and is approximately 31,163 square feet in area with a 10,360 square foot building and a 32-space parking lot. Approximately 9 months ago, the city was notified that the Bank of the West was planning on closing the Bellflower branch and consolidating it with the Lakewood branch. With this information, economic development staff requested to be included in any correspondence regarding the sale of the building. Staff was told that the bank would be accepting offers for 30 days beginning in mid-February. Staff then commissioned a preliminary appraisal and submitted an offer. After the close of the offering period and some negotiation, the parties agreed upon a sale price of $1.7 million and a 60-day escrow period. It is the city's intent in the long run to lease or sell the property to a business or developer that will establish a use that will contribute to the goal of creating a robust pedestrian-oriented downtown with a variety of experiential and destination retail options. In the short term, staff is proposing to seek unique temporary uses for the property, such as pop-up stores, temporary exhibits, and other events that will attract visitors to the area and activate the building. All proceeds from these events, a lease or sale of the property, will be deposited in the city's general fund. At this time, staff is recommending the City Council open the public hearing, take testimonial and documentary evidence, and after considering the evidence, adopt resolution number 18-39, or alternatively, discuss and take other action related to this item. And that concludes my report, and staff is available to answer questions.
Thank you. Any questions of staff?
Yes,
Or
just one
comments?
quick question, Mr. Mayor. Mr. De La Longa, for the building to be used on a temporary basis, do we need to make any improvements on the property?
No, we would, as the city and owner of the building, we would not make the improvements. We would put those on any temporary users.
Okay, so it's basically the utilities are there, so it's ready for use by a temporary tenant?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Good. You good, Mr. Goose?
No questions.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing then, if we have no
I'll second
questions. Yeah. And without objection, that'll be the order. Got a throat problem tonight, so excuse me. Anybody else, anybody wishing to come forward and ask any questions about this item on the agenda or weigh in on anything? Not seeing any, I make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Second the motion.
Without objection, that'll be the order. And
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for the City of Bellflower to adopt resolution number 18-39.
Second.
we got a motion and a second on the floor. Call roll, please.
Councilmember Garza.
Aye.
Councilmember Coops.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Santinez.
Aye.
Mayor Dutton.
Aye. Okay, item 11B, Mr. Stewart.
Consideration and possible action to conduct a public hearing to consider delinquent refuse service charges and adopt resolution number 18-40, a resolution ordering delinquent refuse service charges to be assessed against the property owners and properties, and such charges to be transferred to the county tax rolls. And we have Mr. Gurecki here to give you a brief staff report.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. Before you tonight, we have our public hearing to consider delinquent refuse service charges. Just as background, as we all know, CR&R provides solid waste and recycling services here in the city of Bellflower. CR&R bills the customers directly for these services. Refuse service charges become delinquent if they're not paid within 30 days. The city's municipal code defines procedures for collection of the delinquent service charges, and as a result, the city ends up retaining 10% of the delinquent amount. Just a quick timeline where we're at each year. The list of delinquencies are provided to the city by CR&R on May 31st. CR&R notice to customers goes out the following week on June 6th. Then the city will send out a notice. So customers that are delinquent are getting a notice from CR&R, and then a week later they're getting a second notice from the city, making them aware that they are delinquent on their accounts. And then we go through the process of doing the public hearing. We do the notice on June 21st as well as June 28th. Then we're holding the public hearing this evening on July 9th. The last day for payment for the customers that still are delinquent will be June 19th. And then we will, after June 19th, we'll develop a final list of delinquencies and then turn it into
July 19th?
Excuse me, July. The final list will be sent to the county on August 10th. Just a quick comparison of delinquent refuse service accounts last year compared to the current year that we're in. May 31st last year, we had 615. This year, we had 532. July 3rd, it had dropped down after the notices went out to 344. This year, we dropped down to 325. And then the final list that we submitted last year was for a total of 295 delinquent accounts in the amount of $59,800. This year, we're not there yet, but we can assume that the number will be less than 325, and then whatever the amount will be the final amount that we send in. So with that, the recommendation to the City Council will be to open the public hearing, take testimonial documentary evidence. After considering the evidence, adopt resolution number 18-40, or alternatively, discuss and take other action related to this item. With that, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions.
Any questions to Mr. Gurecki? Pretty cut and dry. We're used to doing this every year.
Make a motion to open the public hearing?
Second.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor to second to open the public hearing. Without objection, that'll be the order. Anybody in the audience want to come up to the podium and discuss this item on the agenda? Come on up.
Okay, yes, I received a letter, and I live in a complex where there are multiple condominiums. They're detached condominiums, and the letter was addressed to me. However, I am not the HOA president, so it should not have been addressed to me. I called the CRR company, and I've also called the city of Bellflower because I wanted my name taken off to show that I am not the responsible party. I was told by the president that the bill was paid, so you should have record of this.
And it very well may be.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll sit,
Yeah.
I'll have Mr. Stepanian from CR&R, he can speak with you afterwards. We'll get the account information from you specifically. We'll go ahead and take a look at that tomorrow and then make sure it's all squared away. And then also try to revise your account, so your name, you're saying you're not the owner of the condominium
No, I
complex?
am an owner, but I'm not the HOA president.
Okay.
So his name should have been on the account, not mine.
You got that letter, but you've never had a trash bill sent to your residence ever, right?
No.
See, that's what's odd, because people
Yeah.
get the trash bill, should be getting this
But-
letter, and
However, CRR did send me a letter. They did before you, and I called them.
yeah, something's
Yeah.
mixed up somewhere, big time.
Yeah. And they said
Yeah.
the person that handled it before lived at my address.
Oh, the person that was HOA president used to be at your address?
Correct. So they
Yeah, okay,
just,
that's what it was, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Do you all
All right.
share a trash receptacle in your
Yes, there's
condominium?
one large
Got
one
it.
in the back.
Got it.
And the association pays the bill on it
Got it.
monthly or bi-monthly, or whatever. I want you to see, this is Dan Sapanian right behind you over your right shoulder.
Okay, good.
And he'll get the information for you, and it'll be a face-to-face, and we'll figure it out.
Right.
Okay? And yeah. Yeah, we'll see if anybody else comes up first, and then you can go outside, and then you can swap information, and he'll get right on it tomorrow during the business day
Very good.
and get a resolution for you. Anybody else with something out of the ordinary or ordinary? Not seeing any?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, motion is second on the floor to close the public hearing. Without objection, that'll be the order. So, Mr. Sapanian, there's no one else? Okay. That looks like you got an easy one tonight.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for the city of Bellflower to adopt Resolution 18-40.
Second.
Okay, with motion on the floor with a second, call roll, please.
Councilmember Garza.
Aye.
Councilmember Coops.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Santinez.
Aye.
Mayor Dutton.
Aye. Okay, item 11C, Mr. Stewart.
Consideration of possible action to conduct a public hearing to consider adopting resolution number 18-41, a resolution ordering the abandonment of a portion of Pacific Avenue within the city. Mr. Gurecki's here.
And once again, Honorable Mayor and council members, consideration and possible action to conduct a public hearing to consider the adoption of Resolution 18-41, which is the resolution ordering the abandonment of the portion of Pacific Avenue within the city of Bellflower. And this is adjacent to the,
Yeah, it is 11C.
this is the one that's adjacent to the parking structure that we're in the process of developing. Just briefly, back in September 5th, 2017, the Planning Commission adopted Resolution number PC 17-17, a resolution of the Planning Commission finding that the partial vacation of Pacific Avenue conforms to the Bellflower General Plan. The City Council adopted the resolution declaring its intent to vacate a portion of Pacific Avenue. Staff also notified all the utility companies of this intention to vacate to allow them an opportunity to retain an easement. We've been working with all the utility companies here for the last month and a half as part of the project, allowing them to relocate out of the area where we're doing the abandonment and wrap it around on Main Street. So we're in the thick of doing that as well right now. So with that, the recommendation to the City Council is to open the public hearing, take documentary and testimonial evidence, and after considering the evidence, adopt resolution number 18-41, or alternatively, discuss and take other action related to this item.
Thank you, Mr. Gurecki. Any questions of staff?
I do, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of questions. Mr. Gurecki, how much longer do you think that portion of Pacific's going to be accessible? I'm not sure when we're going to put up fencing to start construction.
The fencing for construction is tentatively set to go up probably around the middle of August. So we're waiting, as the design build team is doing the design, we're on our end working with all the utility companies to get them relocated, and some go very easy and some are quite difficult and everything. So there's kind of two games being played here at the same time and stuff. So the designer's doing their design work, but we're pretty confident that it looks like the middle of August is when we're going to see at least the construction fence go up, and then the utilities doing some of their work inside of the construction fence, the relocations and the trenching and everything.
And then the last question I have related to this is, as part of the vacation process, did the local residents on Pacific and Olive, that general area, get notified?
Yeah, so the notices go out to everybody. I think I can't remember if it was 500 feet or 300 feet of the project. Our normal reporting or notification processes. When we get a little further into the actual construction, we'll be doing a neighborhood-wide notification there, because there will be a lot of the streets will be impacted, and the traffic routes are going to change during the course of the construction.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other questions?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. One of the things I'm most concerned about is the fact that Jackson Motors always takes in their cars delivery and they go away from that street on Pacific. And you see all the car carriers that go in there. So I know Jackson Motors would be within the 500 feet, but I think that's really going to impact their business when they can't have these car carriers go on Pacific. And I don't want them to go on Main, because then we've got that to contend with. So,
Yeah, Main will be closed down during the.
all right, so we're going to
construction
close,
project as
Main will
well.
be gone, Pacific will be gone during the construction.
Temporarily, yes.
All right, but the Main will reopen before we complete the structure.
Main will reopen as part of the structure opening and stuff.
All right. So what you're saying is that both Main and Pacific will be blocked off from August 1st until we complete the structure?
From when the.
I mean, August 15 or
When the
whatever you said.
construction fencing goes up, we will be, because a lot of the utility work, the relocation of the utilities are going to be relocated into Main Avenue. So the street, just by the work in general that's going to be going on, is going to be shut down due to all the utility work right there and stuff. So it'll be closed down for a very good portion of the total project.
Okay.
It is, and believe us, the minute we can open it back up and there's not as much heavy equipment working in and out of there, then we certainly will, just to alleviate the traffic for that neighborhood.
Okay. Thank you.
Just with a note with that, I would hope as the development continues, that they would start to unload their cars on their own property. There's over 4 acres there. You can
But you know, you see what I see.
accommodate a truck, and I think that's what they should have been doing for quite some time. We just been letting it go because it's a nothing street that's not impacted by any residents or anything like that.
As long as they're notified so they're not thinking that we're doing something behind their back.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, where are we at?
I'll move to open the
Public hearing now, guys. Okay.
Second. Oh,
Got a motion by Coops and a second by Garza. I needed that was a photo finish there.
by-
Without
by
objection.
unanimous second.
Without objection, that'll be the order. Anybody out in the audience that want to talk on this item?
Hello,
Hi.
good evening. How are you guys?
What's your name?
Jesse. My
Jesse.
name's Jesse. I'm actually a resident on Pacific Boulevard.
And your last name?
On Espinoza.
Okay.
And
Can you sign in, sir?
Excuse me.
Sign in.
Pretty much, I just wanted to know how far the street was actually going to be blocked off for that construction that you guys are doing.
Right there at the end of the vacant lot, the triangle lot.
Up to Orchard, because there's Orchard.
Yeah, that's the Orchard.
Not up
Yeah,
the-
no, not that far.
Not that far.
You know
Yeah,
how,
there's-
was it Los Angeles that comes into the, kind of, with that, has that
little
barricade
channel,
there?
right.
Way it'll be past the barricade is where it was. So
Okay.
even with where the bark lot is, where they got the chip bark on it, it'll be about right there.
Okay, I was just wondering, just because we have a lot of elderly residents that live right there.
Uh-huh.
And as far as the notice goes, all I saw was just pretty much a little sign on the side. And I was just wondering if any of the residents were actually notified themselves, because when I asked them if they had read any of the signs or if they knew of any of the construction going on, they're completely oblivious about it. So that's why I made it my point to come here myself, so I could report back to them.
Yeah,
and let
well,
them know.
as we get a little closer to nailing down the actual time when we're doing the construction fence and all that, we'll give ample notice, and we'll probably even possibly hold a workshop for the neighborhood so they can get a list of the schedule and everything that we're looking at doing for that project there at that location and stuff. So to answer your question, the notifications are not
You give them
finished
that.
yet.
They
They'll
give us
they'll
that
be
report
getting
out
more
on me.
notifications about the closures when we have a better project timeline.
I appreciate it. Okay, and another
Yeah, you can
thing-
have that. That's
I
my
appreciate
staff
it.
report that has a picture in it.
And another thing that you guys did mention was about that car
Car truck,
company, the car, really annoying right there.
I know it is. We've
I
had
go up and
complaints
down
over
that
the years,
street
so
all the
yeah.
time, and if you guys could do something about it, that'd
Well,
be
I think it's
awesome.
going to fix itself, I think.
Right, I appreciate it.
One street, yeah,
Okay.
Pacific's going to be gone, and we're not going to want it on Main with the other developments coming. We don't
Yeah,
want that
there's-
next to our parking structure and then other developments.
All right, I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
You got
Thank
some cool things happening downtown in that area right now.
Yeah, there's
so,
a lot of stuff
yeah.
going, it's moving fast,
Yeah.
so that's why once we start seeing things going
Yeah.
on, it kind of
You got a
threw
lot-
me off guard,
Yeah,
you know, so
yeah,
I appreciate it though, thank you.
you bet. Anybody else wishing to talk on this item?
Hey, good afternoon, or good evening, all. My name is John Williams in Pacific Avenue,
Uh-huh.
also for me. I would like to, if I could, see a model of what to expect, because I own the property that's just on the other side of that block wall where that property used to be there. And as this gentleman said, I never received a notice at all myself on what's gonna happen there. The way I saw it was the signs that you guys have put out on the side of the street. And I was one of those persons also that came down to complain about those large diesel trucks.
Trucks, that's why I said we've had complaints, and so it's
Yeah,
nice to meet you.
I could never understand
Yeah.
why it was allowed for diesel trucks to travel down a residential neighborhood.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's gonna finally fix itself.
Fix itself, yes.
So, I would just like to see. Excuse me?
You want to see what the parking structure itself
because-
does?
We have something, yeah.
Yeah.
Because where my property is, when that building goes up, and I think it's multi-story, right?
Correct.
So,
Yeah,
yes, right
he's
there.
on the north
Yeah.
side. He's the first property.
Yeah,
on
we're
the
gonna
north
wanna
side.
know, we're gonna wanna know you to be able to
We'll bring you a
introduce
rendering of the
ourselves
street
and
and the
talk to
project
you.
itself tomorrow.
Yeah.
Sometime we'll drop it off
Okay.
for you. Okay.
All right.
Thanks for coming out, because we knew we would get some impact from other neighbors in that area regarding this or whatever, and it's rather talk about it now
Correct.
and then afterwards.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thanks for coming out. Anybody else in the audience? Not seeing any, move we close the public hearing.
Second.
Got a motion by myself and a second by Coops. Without objection, that'll be the order. What's your pleasure, guys?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for the City Council of Bellflower to adopt resolution number 18-41.
Second the motion.
Got a motion and a second on the floor. Motion by Coops and a motion by Sonny, Mayor Pro Tem Sonny Santinez, and second by Coops. So get the clerk to get that straight. Call roll, please.
Councilmember Garza.
Aye.
Councilmember Coops.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Santinez.
Aye.
Mayor Dutton.
Aye. Okay, we have a consideration item, 12A. Mr. Stewart? That's okay. Better than being behind.
This consideration possible action read by title only, waive further reading, and introduce ordinance number 1360, an ordinance amending Bellflower Municipal Code BMC 2.04.020, regulating regular city council meetings. And this is a virus? Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. This is a cleanup ordinance. BMC Section 2.04.020 must be modified to reflect the new election schedule implemented when changing the city's electoral system from at-large to by-district elections.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve that item.
Second.
Motion by myself and second by Councilmember Coops. Call roll, please.
Councilmember Garza.
Aye.
Councilmember Coops.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Santinez.
Aye.
Mayor Dutton.
Aye. Consent calendar. Anybody wanting to discuss or pull?
Mr. Mayor, may I do a couple of things first?
Okay, yeah.
Business, sorry. First, staff is recommending that we pull 14K for another date. We're not quite ready to move forward with that yet. We want to study it further and bring it back for further review.
14K.
Secondarily, there are two amended items, 14D and J. We would ask that you look at and consider the amended items in the book as opposed to the originals. And last, administratively, staff is seeking to amend 14G in a manner approved by the city attorney to allow this agreement to run for the period of 2 years recommended, but to go to month, because we believe the property may be transferred before the end of that 2-year period, so. other
What
than
item was that one?
that- I'm sorry, 14G.
14G, okay.
If you don't mind, Mr. Mayor, Mr. City Manager, point of clarification, I think the 2-year one was 14L.
I'm sorry, is it? I have railroad G, so you
14.
are right. It is L, you are correct, yeah. 50% chance and I got it wrong, so same language, different number, 14L, yeah.
But
Was there a correction to it?
Well, what we're looking to do is we want to add a section with the city attorney's approval, to make this a month-to-month agreement. So in case we get the transfer, or we do get a transfer of property prior to that, you can go month to month. And
Got
the
it.
tenant won't have any property rights to it after a month's period of time.
Mr. Mayor, is that both on 14G and L?
No, only L. Oh, I'm sorry, well, G is a short-term lease, but yeah, same thing.
Okay,
Same principle applies, correct.
So with the cleanup is
The
month to month.
cleanup is
month to
only,
month, so we're gonna do it on 14G too?
G, well,
14L and G then?
G isn't required, isn't necessary. L only.
L only, okay.
G is a short-term lease period.
Okay.
L is a longer,
G is for, I believe, a month and a half.
right.
That mark, but
Okay.
during the Still project,
Mm-hmm,
it'll be out
okay,
here in a month and a half.
Right.
gotcha, okay.
And so what we're saying with L is if, with a property,
Yeah, right,
if
if
and
it
when it's-
changes ownership,
yeah,
right, I
correct.
get it.
yeah.
Do we have a backup plan?
Let's hope that happens.
Right, yeah, that's
What
all
happens
good.
to our arborist when he doesn't have a place to park his equipment? Do we have a
Oh,
place for it?
That's a luxury for him.
Okay.
Yeah,
He's a resourceful person, he'll
Yeah.
find something, yeah.
that's just best of what we got. Okay, so before I get to any items you want to pull, I'm going to ask the council, are you good with the amendments on D and J? So
Well, when do I need to tell that I have a conflict on 14?
but we're going to get there after this. I just want to
Okay.
get to concessions, because it's getting confusing. And then we're okay with 14L. Mm-hmm. Okay, so
Yep.
when we go past this, those are going to be included. Got that, clerk? Thank you, Ms. Clerk. All right, what do we want to pull, other than what staff has pulled?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like
Mr.
to
Garza, go
pull
first.
14N,
14 N as in Nelson?
as in November, yes, sir.
That it?
That's it.
Mr. Santa Ynez?
Nope, I'm good.
Oh, no? Wow.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr.
And
Coops?
14N, I'm conflicted out because I have property within 300 feet of that subject
And
property.
then 14 N Coops, it's just going to be conflicted.
My hunch is he's probably,
Okay.
Mr. City Attorney, do I need to leave the room?
Fort,
to
who's
begin
in,
discussion?
what is 14 N about? I haven't caught
That's,
up yet.
tear
And
down
it's on
those
the,
houses.
What's
demolition?
Demolition, Alondra.
Okay, so we want to get Lynn to, okay.
Yeah.
So,
Do I gotta leave the room?
yeah, you're going to have to leave the room. We haven't talked about it. Yeah, that's that new attorney.
It'll be quick, man.
You've been burgered.
You never do see it coming.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Gorecki, I was just hoping to get some background on the demolition and the why, what happened.
The why and whatnot, I'm not clear on. That's more of a code enforcement issue, and perhaps the city attorney might be able to bring you up to speed on that a little more. But once we get the abatement warrant on the public works side, we have to take off and go. We're working on a clock. I don't have 4 months to spec and bid it out or anything like that. Thus, the reason we have an emergency declaration like we do to handle that property and get rid of that and stuff, so.
Perfect, yeah,
The
and-
background to it,
so,
perhaps.
by way of background, this was an illegal facility, cannabis facility. It had been opened, we got the court order to abate it on Thursday. We decided to move forward with it and move through with the urgency issue to do that, and that's why we're here tonight.
Okay. So it was an illegal cannabis facility? Oh, great. So thank you. Thanks for clarifying that. I wasn't.
And that's the one that the property owner, we think, is part of the business owner, right? So it's been a different than the ones we've been up against, usually they're renters. So you have a property owner that, oh, I didn't know I was doing that.
Yeah.
Well, now it's one of the same, so it's a little, yeah, because we have a feeling that he doesn't want to shut down, he owns the property.
Got it. No, thank you. I appreciate the background. Just, I had a little bit of inkling on it, but I want to also share with the public of the aggressiveness that the city's taking to make sure that this industry it performs in a legal basis in our city. So I want to thank staff for working on this, and again, for being able to convince the judge to allow us to demolish this property. So thank you. And that completes my questions and comments, Mr. Mayor.
And Mr. Mayor, members of the council, just as Councilmember Garza just mentioned, we do have a court order with regard to this. This is not something that the city's moving forward with without the court's blessing on it.
Right. Okay, would you get Mr. Coops, please? No, I'm gonna, He's recused himself from it already. Yeah.
Where is the property located, those two? What side, is it Lakewood or Landra?
9548 and
I know, between what, streets?
Between Clark and Ryan.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go do this because I got the notes. I'm gonna make a motion to approve the consent calendar without 14K, with Mr. Coops recusing himself on 14N, along with the amendments of item 14D and J, and with 14L with the clarification.
Okay, you got it?
Did I get it right? All right.
Second.
Yeah.
It's always good when the city clerk's happy. Got a motion by myself, a second by Mrs. Pro Tem Inez,
No, Garza.
or Garza, okay.
He beat me to it.
And without objection, that'll be the order. Okay. Council agency reports, Mr. Garza.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple items. One is, I know as part of the consent calendar, one of the items that we approved was a report from me on the recent travel that I took on behalf of our city. I went up to Monterey as part of the League of Cities Conference. There was a mayor's and council members executive forum program that I attended. Highly recommended. I know that it's an annual forum that takes place. It's the last week of the end of June. I think the next one is going to happen in Newport Beach, from what I gather. But topics of absolute relevancy to us as a council members. But one of the things that one of the reasons that I wanted to talk about this is that on the Friday session, and I will read this, the all-day session was titled Exceptional Council for Exceptional Times, Creating a Governance Culture of Civility and Purpose. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is recently I was a judge. I was invited to be a judge a couple of times by the Bellflower Alliance. And so as part of their scholarship program, we had students from the local area that had to do a speech on a certain topic. And it was actually on civility and leadership. And I find it extraordinary in today's times that we have in our country that this topic was so poignant. And in attending this, we had probably around a good 80 members of city councils from throughout the state that attended the session. And I have to tell you that the stories that I heard from some of our colleagues in other cities throughout the state in terms of the way they interact with each other and the way they are in the dais is a complete 180 of the way we are. I heard some stories that frankly would scare you in terms of the way they interact with each other. And so as leaders in this community, I'm proud to serve with you, and I'm proud of the way we interact with each other. And so I was really proud of the fact that when I got up and I spoke about our experience, it was completely different. And so I just want to say I'm proud of us, and I highly encourage that if you have an interest in something like this for next year, it's a definitely good program. And then the last thing was I was going to ask and I'll read this. I would like this evening's meeting to be adjourned in memory of Long Beach Fire Department Captain David Rosa. Captain David Rosa, a 17-year veteran of the Long Beach Fire Department, was killed in the line of duty on Monday, June 25, while responding to an explosion at a senior apartment building in downtown Long Beach. He most recently served at Fire Station 10, where he was an important member of the community who was respected and loved for his dedication, compassion, and commitment. Before his promotion as captain, he was a firefighter and paramedic and some of the busiest stations in the city of Long Beach. He also served as a training captain, teaching recruits and firefighters. Captain Rosa is survived by his wife, Lindley, 2 sons, Alec, 25, and Samuel, 15. His parents, Paul and Jean Rosa, and a sister, Julie Hensley. Our deepest sympathies and heartfelt condolences go out to the entire Rosa family and to our sister city, the city of Long Beach. And I think it's especially poignant today that we know how much our public safety personnel puts their life on the line every time they go out. And so I think having an incident like this is a sobering reminder to us that these gentlemen and these women that do protect us, do put their lives on the line every day. So I just especially wanted to adjourn tonight's meeting as memory. So thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Garza. Councilmember Pro Tem, Mayor Pro Tem Sonny Santinez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of things. Friday last week, I went to attend the opening of the Street Fest. The band, The Answer, played music, and I think that my observation is I think it's one of the largest opening of Street Fest, if not the largest, because there was a huge crowd on that Friday. So I want to thank Parks and Rec staff, Public Works, and Public Safety for working together to make this happen. So it was a good turnout. And also last Friday for the food fun and flex, I was kind of concerned initially because it was really hot. It was in the hundreds at about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, something like that. The attendance was very low, but once it becomes darker, going into dusk, people started showing up, and by the time they started showing the movie, the plaza was full. So I invite everyone to please come enjoy. Again, this Thursday, Thursday this week, we're going to have another band. I think it's the Smith Band playing on downtown Bellflower. So I hope to see you there. Thank you.
So you'd say the attendance was better at the food and flicks versus the Lions chili cook-off?
I did not say that, okay?
A nighttime chili cook-off, that's where you got to do.
Next time, maybe next time.
Councilmember Coops.
When we first got on council several years ago, Ray and I went to a chili cook-off, and we've never eaten chili since because of the stuff we tasted there. But that. So,
You got to tell the rest of the story, though, Dan. Where were we?
well, we were at church. They prayed over it and everything, and it still didn't help.
Yeah.
But
And they would come around and look and see, oh, there's eating ours.
yeah, and we had a great.
So you got the person that cooked it just sitting 5 feet from you, and you're going, oh, this isn't good.
No, it was a night to remember. And we took our wives, and they said, we're going to dinner afterwards, aren't we? I mean, that was how we was driven. But
it was fun.
talk about what Sonny, on the event of a week ago when we had the Street Fest, and I think we all saw each other there and agreed that the attendance was far beyond what it initially is. And so we're excited by that because that was our first one. And you always want to make sure that people get out there and see it all. And it was a great band, a great time, and even better weather at that point in time. And 4th of July, a tradition is that the city council is invited, along with the city councils of Lakewood and Cerritos, to the Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Church over on Carpintero, and they have a flag-raising ceremony. And our illustrious mayor gave a speech about freedom, as did the mayors of Lakewood and Cerritos, and we all attended, all the members that you see up here this evening, and they raised the flag. They had a little difficulty, but they got it up there okay. And it's just
Boy Scouts.
The Boy Scouts, and
Young.
it was just a wonderful occasion to be able to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning. Again, the weather was very kind to us, and it was just a pleasure to meet all the constituents of the different cities who attend that church. And back to what Juan was talking about is civility, and I want to commend everybody that came out this evening to give testimony and see what we're doing here in City Hall. This is one of the most civil meetings that we've had here in a long time. And everybody seemed to bring their ideas and their concerns forward in a logical and very respectful manner. And we really appreciate that. And we always welcome your attendance here at City Hall. And during the summer, it's a little lighter because the school is now, Bellflower High has indicated that they want their students to come to the meetings. So sometimes it gets a little crowded in here. But we invite you to come. We want your participation. We're doing some great things on the boulevard. This evening, you may have heard that we're going to be changing some of the Pacific and Main Street entries off of Bellflower Boulevard to accommodate our new parking structure. We hear you about the market's failure in our town, and we're doing our best to replace those things. But we're attentive to what's going on. We have a council that works together well, and we'll continue to work together to get these things done. And many of you have been watching and seeing our city council over the years and know that it always has not been this way. And so to be able to come forward and have a council that is making a difference in Bellflower, and these are changes that are going to impact our city for the next 50 years. This is going to make Bellflower something that we're going to be as proud of 50 years from now as we are today. And the Bellflower Boulevard is going to hum again like no other city around here. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
Well, you're just full of all happy, neat stuff.
Well, you should have told me in closed session, but that was another story. I took my
Well,
pills.
with that, I hope everybody had a wonderful 4th of July, and we all get it about the illegal fireworks. It's such a massive problem in our town, surrounding towns. We put in very, very early for deputies with overtime. It's not about the budget more so than there's just not enough deputies, because every other city that uses a sheriff are begging for deputies for overtime to police their cities for the exact same thing that we're doing. We just don't have the resources in our sheriff's department to canvass our city like it needs to be done, but we're always looking for a better direction and think outside the box. As we know, we used to write 120 tickets with the same force out there. We're down to 40-some tickets, and that tells us right there that I don't think they're getting any less illegals out there. It sure doesn't sound like it from what I can tell. They're getting smarter and knowing how to hide it and not get caught is what it tells me. But with that, I just want to let the public know and our residents that it's a tough task, but we're always thinking about it. We think about it, the month before and then the month after, because the month before we hear it and we get asked what we're going to do, and then the month after, you didn't do a very good job. So we get that information and feedback. And with that, I'm going to sign off here and announce adjournment, and also announce the per Bellflower Municipal Code Section 2.04.020. Of course, you know what that is, right? There is no second regular meeting in July, so we won't. 2 weeks from now will be dark.
Mr. Mayor, and in honor of the firefighter.
That was my next line.
Sorry. Give him a
And
chance.
thanks for getting my back. He's ahead of himself again. And we would also like to adjourn in the memory of Captain David Rosa to the next regular council meeting of the Bellflower City Council at 5:30 p.m. Monday, August 13th, 2018. Thank you.
1 hour.
Good job.
Yeah.
That was painless, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was painless.
Jeff's trying to get the bows.
Is that what it is?
That's what it is. He's trying to- That's what it's about. I don't think so.
I don't want to take another shower.
No. It's Saturday at 40 yard. Back porch in the back, rear porch of this house, part of my renovation project. Damn near killed me.
So how did you get it?
Yeah, it's.
You cart deal?
Yeah. Let me just sit down. Okay, so last April, I had a little pad thing I poured. Got a card from here in Bellflower from a reluctant Tony, that we helped get his American Express tool place. Remember all that switching, got rid of his landlord he didn't like. So he's in there. And first I go over there back in April to get this thing. We don't pour in the rain. What do you mean pour in the rain? So I go back and get a cell phone number of the owner. I go, Tony, I guess you guys don't pour in the rain or something like that. And can you give me a pass and I'm ready to pour? What? Pour. And they said, you just turned down, you run off the mayor. So then I go over there Saturday. We're waiting there at the gate for them to open up. They open up, going to be first 7. Go, it's going to be hot. Oh, we moved that over to the Long Beach store. We don't have it anymore. So I go, well, we had it last week. I got to go to the 710 freeway and get off on the Long Beach Boulevard. It's right there. Which is okay. It's like, you're shitting me. So then I started thinking. So I go over to the new place over there, and I go, yeah, because I always rent a wheelbarrow. It's $10. I don't have to store that son of a bitch.
Right.
Well, we don't have any wheelbarrow. You brought the concrete over to a wheelbarrow?
Well, this
That'd be a good idea.
this
I got a call to Bellflower, so they got it, so I had to sit down and go get that. Can you bring that little girl back with you on this side? You gotta give it to me free for transport.